So, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you're joining us from. I'm Serene, the host of the Serene View, and today we're bringing you yet another episode of Constructive Argument. Now, if you've never heard of constructive argument is this whole idea of bringing diversity of opinions back to social media. Now, one of the problems with the web, as you probably already know, is that there is a lot of echo chamber effect. People are being shown content that they already agree with, and that creates an overall polarization of opinions around the world. So, with Okay, so one of the issues that has happened today is the day of So I'm not sure if you're able to see me. So I'm not sure if you're able to see me or hear me, as I said. But today is a technical day of technical difficulty. It's not working. This really is a problem. Oh dear. Okay. I am going to have to, I think, come back a little while later with more of this because it does not seem to want to work at all. I do not seem to be able to get. Yes, finally. Oh, it's finally worked. Okay, so firstly, I apologize to all of you for all of that. Today is the day of technical difficulties. I have been thrown off my computer 3 times. I've lost sound, I've lost video, and actually so has my guest. So I've lost my guest as well. And so today, what we're going to talk about is play. And I'm not sure if the internet has therefore decided to play with us. But yes, today is the day of technical difficulties. For those of you who are here online with me, today really talking about play, about the fact that we should have more play. And actually, I invited as my guest one of the trainers of what is called original play. Now, how many of you have kind of like are online now because you've heard of this topic and you are actually thinking of, I should incorporate more play in my life? Now, let me have a show because I have lost my guest actually. So I can't even speak to my guest at the moment. So I'm going to speak to all of you instead. And I'm going to ask you to put in the comments for me. What are your opinions about play? Like, I mean, do you think play? I mean, do you think play is something that we sorely need? Do you think play is something that's overrated? Do you think that we need more play? So, oh, yes. Okay. So before we start, should we define what is play? Okay. So what is play in your mind? What do you think is play? Is it just a couple of people kind of like, running around, having fun, or playing a video game? What in your mind really is play? And what is the essence of play? How do we define play as opposed to, well, work? What is the difference between what is play and what is work? So those of you who are online with me, just drop it into the comments. I'll just pull it up as you guys join the comments. What is your definition of play? What do you consider to be play? Okay, so I'm just drop it into the comments wherever you are. Now, the first thing that I will kind of share with you is, have you ever seen baby animals? Like, have you ever seen, I don't know, lion cubs, kittens, puppies? Have you ever seen baby animals? What do baby animals, actually baby predators, do? Okay, think about it. Lion cubs. Some of you must have watched National Geographic before. So, what do lion cubs do? Lion cubs pounce on each other as play. Now, think about it. What do baby animals do for play? A lot of what animals do for play is actually a rehearsal for the roles that they will play, for the tasks that they will take on when they are adults. So baby lion cubs will pounce on each other in preparation for one day where they will be the adults, and that where they will have to pounce and catch a prey. And that's the essence of play. Now, do they have fun? I hope they have fun. But a lot of play in nature is really about this rehearsal almost for work. This ability to rehearse for, oh, I've gotten my guest back. Oh, congratulations. I'm so happy. I must say it wasn't just you. So was thrown off. I had no sound. I had no video for a bit. Yes, I'm glad to have you back. We're just talking about what is play and how a lot of play in nature is actually rehearsal for, kind of actual work. So what happens is with like baby lion cubs, right? They will play and they'll pounce on each other in imitation of pouncing on real prey. And in that sense, I'm asking what is the definition, or where's the line that you draw between work and play? Now, before we start all of that, now that I finally have my guest, I'm going to step out and actually give the expert some space. So Klaus is the man about play. He is the man who, he plays with his kids, he plays with his clients, he plays with adults, he plays with kids, he plays with families, and he is the man to go to if you want to know anything about play. So, Klaus, can I get you to just introduce yourself briefly?
Okay, thanks very much. Thank you.
Oh, yeah.
Hi, everybody. Hello.
I can't hear you. That's the thing. I can't
You can't hear me.
you.
Okay.
Yes, now I can hear you. Very good. Go ahead.
Can you hear me now? Yeah.
Yes, I can hear you now. Yes, go ahead. Very
good. Good. So actually, I've been playing for a couple of years now, nearly a decade, and I've played with over 3,000 kids and over 500 adults. Also over quite a time range for some. I've played with some people over years and years, and seen what play can do in social behavior, in being able to deal with your emotions, and also increasing your cognitive powers. So very, very special things that I've encountered. I'm very grateful for that. And yeah, I'm happy to share a little bit of that with you today. So generally speaking, I'll take a little detour on getting how to play and what play really is. As adults, we generally tend to think that it's us adults that need to teach our kids in order to get along with life, because there's so much to learn, so much to know about the world we live in, the universe we live in. There's so much science out there. There's a lot to learn about how we physically function, about how we think that we emotionally function, and all that has to be learned intellectually, we quite often think that the most. I'm sorry.
No, I was just going to interrupt you and actually say, before we go into all of these like benefits and so on of play, which I'm sure you're like raring to tell us, I want to start with a very simple thing, which is, what is play? I mean, what would you define as play, as opposed to like everything else that we do?
I was getting to that point, but with a little detour. No worries. I have a very particular definition of play that might be different from definitions other people would give the term play. And the detour that I was taking in order to explain that was that we as adults have a very particular view about all what surrounds us, and we think that our adult view is a very is the one that counts and the one that makes the universe work. So, and kids are actually the ones who are there, who invite us to have a little bit different view about things. And actually, kids are the ones that can teach us a lot more about social life, about emotions, dealing with emotions, than we might think. And it's that they invite us to enter a world which functions completely different than our adult world seems to function, and that is play.
I'm going to stop you there, actually, Klaus, and I'm going to ask you this question, which is, it functions a lot differently than our adult world seems to be functioning. Now, my question is this the way it's supposed to function? Or do you think our adult world is the way that it's supposed to function? What do you think? So what I'm asking you is the world dysfunctional because we have thrown play out the window, or actually the world is perfectly functional and play is a thing that we should get out of after we've stopped being adults? What do you think?
I think a lot of the problems we're having as societies and as adults getting along with each other come from not playing enough. And having, scientifically speaking, the thing when we lose connection to what we have as little kids starts between ages 1 and 3 years, and in those ages we already get to be little adults, if you like to say, where we out of that eagerness to learn. As kids, we actually want to get a grasp of everything that surrounds us. We soak it in, and we want to learn, and we are so keen on getting to know things. We're so super curious, and over that process of being so super curious and soaking everything in, we forget that actually we have something to give as well, and that's when we lose that playful approach to everything. But like in our adult world, quite a lot depends on being in competition, showing that we are better than others and stuff like that, which for a kid doesn't matter at all. And if we take a closer look at at some of the issues that we deal with or have to deal with today, then it might seem that we could take it a little bit easier if we have a playful approach to things.
I mean, if this is something that you feel is this important, then I guess my counter argument would be, why is it gone? I mean, why is it thrown out if it was that important? even not just even for adults. I would even argue that play has been thrown out for a lot of kids. I mean, kids
Yeah,
aren't playing
yeah.
much anymore. They're studying, they're doing sports, and so on. They are not playing much, right? So
Yeah.
if this is that important, why was it even thrown out?
We learn from our surrounding. Yeah, we're being born in this life, in this world. We take quite a bit of I say legacy with us. Quite a range of competencies, even as kids, that being encountered with our world and being encountered with our parents in kindergarten, in school, whatever, we tend to adapt to our surrounding, and we tend to that there's a saying that you are actually made up of the things that you encounter in the five people that you spend most time with. So when you, as a kid, you spend most time with your parents, you spend most time in kindergarten, and you tend to adapt to what is there. You're not born as a how shall I say, as a little Jesus or something, with the powers to irradiate everything that you come into this world with, and everyone acknowledges that. No, because as adults, we have the power to lift up our kids. We're bigger, we are stronger. We feed our kids, so that is all influences on why kids think, aha, this is how I should be. So that's the
But
way
you
how
see,
we adapt to that, and
I
how
mean,
we
Klaus,
use to play.
no, I was going to say, Klaus, look, if the environment is such that, it prevents play, put it that way, whether it be in the
Yeah,
preschool, whether it be at
yeah,
home with your
yeah.
parents, if the environment is such that people need to get used to not having play, then,
Mhm.
why are you arguing that we need play? Because quite obviously, if we are grown to be creatures of the environment, in order to
Mhm.
adapt well to this environment, then we actually have to have less play and get used to working harder.
Uh-huh. If you, it depends on the concept that you want the world to be, and what you want to reach as a goal in your life, maybe also. So I, for myself, I want things to run easy, smooth, and I want to achieve most of what I put on effort into things that I do. Yeah, so
Okay.
I tend to be a very effective worker. So what I like to achieve is that I want the things that I have to work with other people to function very properly, to get things on track very properly, to have things done in time, and in order to achieve that, I have to cooperate, and cooperation is something that needs many skills that include also that I am resilient with a lot of very stressful situations, and when I lose that resilience, the whole teamwork suffers from that.
Okay.
And
So,
what makes me resilient is actually that I have a very playful approach to everything I encounter,
so
and
can I
that
just
playful approach. I'm
just
sorry.
interrupt you and summarize to say that you're basically saying that by playing,
Yeah,
we can learn, sort of more or less being able to deal with people, emotional
yeah,
intelligence, social intelligence, resilience, even you were talking about.
yeah,
the ability to problem solve and to cooperate with others.
Yes. There are two different states of mind, a competitive mind and a collaborative mind. The competitive mind actually shuts off quite a number of brain areas and is not able to really access a good level of creativity that we could access if we were in a collaborative state of mind.
I see. So you feel that play is one way to bring out this collaboration, the collaborative state of mind, rather than the competitive state of mind?
Yeah, because like I would go one step deeper also. How we are, how we behave, our behavioral patterns, our character, if you like, is all a result of a lifelong learning process. Whether we have lived for 1 year or whether we've lived for 90 years, all what we are is a result of what we've learned up till now, and all what we've learned up till now is so to say saved to our hard disk. Not only the brain, but also physically every cell in our body is trained and contains all the behavioral patterns that we have acquired during our life. So just to take an example, it takes us a lot of time to learn how to walk. We fall down countless times, and at one point of time suddenly we can walk. Our body stores what each cell has to do in order to be able to walk, and that's the same thing with how to communicate, the same thing with how to set up a contract, the same thing with how to write, the same thing with doing mathematics and whatever daily life requires. Everything we acquire in our life, every ability we acquire in our life is stored within the hard disk of our body. And with playing, we actually arrange for our body to get alternative solutions for given situations. And that is somewhat, if you like, aside from our intellect. We don't need to use our intellect in order to solve a solution, to solve a situation in play.
It's almost as though you are talking about the wisdom of the body, that when you are playing, you're really talking about the wisdom of the body rather than the wisdom of the mind, correct? And that's what comes out.
So
but
actually,
this is very peculiar to specific types of play, right? Because play is so wide. I mean, I could be playing with, Tetris, I could be playing with Sudoku, I can be playing, I don't know, word games. And does it still apply?
The thing is, all those, I would like to call it types of cultural play, they have nothing to do with what we are talking about when we here talk about play. Play in that sense is something that you said it before, little cubs would do, that if you watch your little kids at home, what they do when they play without any toys, for instance, they can play without any toys, and that is the play that I'm talking about. It's just touch and a specific kind of movement and a physical ability that is actually a super big strength. of being soft to whatever you encounter. And with that, little kids get along with kind of every situation they encounter amongst themselves. So it's only when adults step in and try to act after their own concepts, after their own rules, if you like, that kids pick that up and think that's how they have to deal with situations.
So
If
I
we
guess
don't
you're
do that
really
as adults,
kind of more
it's
talking about original play. Is that correct?
yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So maybe you should define original play, because I think not many people are exposed to the concept of original play. So if you want to kind of define what it is and describe what it is.
Yeah, original play was the term itself was actually coined by Fred Donaldson, a very beautiful soul walking this earth. I had the chance with working a lot in the past couple of years, and from whom I've actually learned that type of play. It is play without any toys. It is play that has a goal of keeping us safe all the time. And with that, it is also like a practice. It is a way of encountering life. So it might be seen as a philosophical concept as well, but actually it derives really very much from practice, and it is the thing that actually connects or would connect every living being if we take a closer look. Little kids play that, wild animals play that, and they all play in the same way. They look not to hurt each other, keep each other safe, and train each other in really letting go of things. And Fred takes it very specifically.
So I guess
Letting
for those of us who've never seen it before, I mean, original play is a form of play that is modeled after what wildlife does. I mean, earlier on I talked about, lion cubs pouncing on each other. Today I shared a video about polar bears playing with dogs, but really that's the concept behind original play. So kind of it's free play, it's physical, at the same time it's safe, and basically that's the concept behind it. But I think when we talk about whether we should have more play, would you agree with me that actually there's a huge definition of what involves play? Because everything from things like, adults going home and then going on their mobile phone to play games, to, people just having almost like a joking banter with each other, then those are all different forms of play. So in your opinion, do you think that all those forms of play are equally beneficial, or is it only specifically to original play?
So of course I can only talk about my experience. Yeah, when I play a game on my mobile phone, for instance, yeah, what it does, it's focusing very much my attention on a very, very, very specific sort of, what shall I say, sort of, let's generally call it situation, yeah, where for instance I'm needed to fill out squares with color or with no color, depending on numbers that are, I don't know the name of that game. I like to play that, but still it's a very specific, very narrowing my mind type of game. Yeah, and so that's maybe also the difference in the expression. So it's not play, but it's playing a game. And play in the sense that I'm talking about is really something that would very much open up your mind. Yeah, it takes away the concepts, the categories we have in our mind, and it helps really being in the moment. And being in the moment, es geht jetzt gar nicht, Joanna. Being in the moment. Joanna, du machst mich nervös, bitte. Ich bin am Telefonieren in einer Videokonferenz. Entschuldigung.
Okay.
Yeah.
She can come and play with you, maybe.
So being able to do that generates the state of mind that is able actually, or that enables us to have such a deep learning process that will recalibrate our reflex system over time. From even for us as adults, from being in most cases rather competitive than collaborative, into something very cooperational. So that's what is taking part on a physical level, and that is only achieved if we use our body, if we use our emotions, and not by just using our eyes and thumbs when we play, for instance, on our mobile phones.
But
And it is also done only. I'm sorry?
No, I was going to say, Klaus, it takes a lot of almost training to do the kind of play that you are thinking about, right?
Yeah.
Because I mean, I've gone for the course before. I have tried it myself, but now I have a child. He's 8 years old, and you tell me that, would I dare to do that kind of physical play with him? No, no, because my first idea will be, oh my goodness, do I have the space in my house? Even if I did on the bed, will I fall off? So I think there's a lot of, I think we are very out of touch, put it this way, with physical play. And I don't think that many of us will feel comfortable doing physical play. And certainly, I think outside of the parent-child relationship, you were telling me that you also do this for, businesses and so on. I don't see how this is going to work.
Yeah. So the thing how to adapt that kind of play for the adult world and business world is, of course, a completely different issue. Yeah. When you do seminars with
maybe we take it. We take it as two different things. We take it as, okay, first let's look at this whole idea of playing, right? Like you said, okay, it's not just playing on the thumbs. It's really physical play, emotional play, but how many of us, I will honestly say, have the knowledge or the experience to dare to do it? Even after I've attended like a couple of days course, I wouldn't do it, right? So we don't have the capacity for this kind of play. I'll say that many of us don't have the capacity anymore. So what do we go? Where do we go from here? Let's start with the easiest one, like even with our kids, right? Where do we go next from here?
On your carpet. You go on your carpet.
I was going to tell you, I live in Singapore. We are too hot to have carpets. I don't have a carpet.
Okay, whatever. You go to your mattress on your bed. You pull the mattress off your bed so you're closer to the floor. Nobody can fall down your bed. And you just lie down. And you watch what your kids are doing. Yeah. And the way you engage with your kids is not that you might be acquainted with on you're the one taking responsibility of everything, you're the one guiding what is going on, but you're the one learning. And learning, kids do that a lot. They learn by imitation. So from what would kids learn to be young adults? They learn from imitation. So we do the same thing in the other way around. We imitate our kids. And if they sit like upright, legs crossed, for instance, so we imitate that as well. We do the things that our kids do. And the specific situations that you described before with your 8-year-old, for instance, that comes much later. So it's just that you are the one, you are following the movements of your kids, and
So, I mean, just to interrupt you, I will say it's kind of a free form thing, right? It's open, you know, you're there, you're with the kid, you're present, and, you know, whatever happens, happens. But this, I would guess, only happens with very young kids. I mean, my kid is 8. I can arguably still be able to do this. But, you know, if my kid was 18, I don't think he will want to sit cross-legged with me on the bed anymore, honestly.
Yeah, yeah, that's right. I'm talking about younger kids when I say that. Yeah.
Okay. All right. So
yeah.
if you do have younger kids, then I think sort of like sitting there observing them and then moving into the play as it arises is what you're trying to say.
Yeah. So if you have really young kids at home, babies and toddlers, then you're blessed because you can learn the most of them. The older they get, the more they've already learned from you, and the more effort, time, and I would say awareness it would take from you in order to as a team get back to original play. Yeah.
Now let's move on from sort of young kids, because I don't know actually how many. I mean, look, put it into the comments. If you're parents of young kids, put it into the comments. Let us know. But I don't know how many parents there are with young kids. But let's say if we try to apply this to the wider world, right? I mean, whether it be applying it to our world at work, which we actually touched on a little bit early on just now. And you talked about, hey, this is a way to kind of foster more collaboration, more cooperation. And I agree. But the issue is this, you see, which is that, look, if you tell me to play a mobile app or just, sit there and play a word game, no problem. You tell me to play a physical game, a physical play, I can think of like so many kind of, I don't know, discrimination or, harassment, or I can't even imagine what will come back out of that, right? I just shudder even to think about it. How can we possibly bring this into the workplace?
Well, one bit is seminars. One bit is doing simple exercises that we plan actually to give an introduction in upcoming 2 hour. I think, Serene, we planned 2 hours.
Yes, we did plan to give a 2-hour webinar after this. Yes.
Yeah. Webinars just to get an impression on what kind of exercises we can do going back home after work with our partner. For instance, we could practice, if we don't have a partner, we practice with a friend, or if we're lucky, we have kids, we can practice with them. Yeah. And the thing is, there is actually a difference that you right away get to encounter. You feel it. You really see and feel what is of you are in a state of cooperation. That's something
you're breaking
that you feel.
up for me. I lost your last two sentences. Maybe if you could repeat the last two sentences. Yeah.
Yeah. So exercises that will give you an impression, a physical impression. You feel that, you see that. What is different when your mind is in a state of competition, and on the other hand, when your mind is in a state of cooperation. So that's a tremendous difference. You are able to do things when your mind is in a state of cooperation that you wouldn't have thought would be possible. Physically, wouldn't have thought that would be possible. Yeah, and feeling that gives your body a first impression, a first step of learning how it could be, and how your body starts to imagine how your life could be when you went out of your normal competitive state of mind into a cooperative state of mind.
Okay.
And that is something that I would say also works alongside the intellect, because your body already feels that. And that's the start of rebuilding your reflex system.
Okay.
Yeah.
I think this is one of the things that since we've already touched on it, I will also let you know who are here with us in the audience. So for the last couple of constructive arguments, people have approached me and said, hey, these are great ideas you're giving us. And what next? We want to know more about what to do next. And this is one of the reasons why, from this session, I'm trying to create a couple of webinars. It will be 2-hour, just short 2-hour webinars. They are coming up in about 2 weeks' time. And really what the webinars are, it isn't like this. This is an opportunity for you to challenge us on every single aspect of it. And I'm not sure if you realize this, but both me and Klaus are into play. We both are very play-oriented, although not quite the same. I think Klaus is very into physical play and I'm more into other forms of non-physical play. But still, I think we both buy the play ideology. But a lot of it then becomes, okay, sure, you've convinced me. I think play is great. What next? Right? So a lot of these seminars that I'm sort of introducing to the Serene View, they are literally sort of 2-hour introductory webinars. They're all about what is the first thing you can take to implement. And we're actually having 2 of it. So one will be for parents and kids. So if you have a young child at home and you want to implement this for your children, that's one webinar. It'll be 2 hours. The other one is for leaders with those who are with them. So leaders and team members. Really, that is about how do you implement something like this. Not asking you to go and do physical play. Anyway, we are in the age of Zoom, so that's not possible. These will all be Zoom webinars. But what we are asking you is to implement that mindset of stepping out of competition and going into collaboration. I know that there are still a lot of leaders who think in kind of the red ocean way, or we've got to go out there, we've got to kill our competitors, we've got to be competitive. But I think coming out of a huge pandemic, we have kind of realized that the paradigm for work and for the world has changed. And I think we need to look at a new paradigm of, hey, is there a way we can collaborate? And honestly, play or playfulness is a great inroad, to collaboration, a great way to help people step out of competition and step into collaboration. Because I think once you have that playful mindset, there's a lot more possibilities than without. So we're also coming to the top of the hour. If there's one last thing that you want to leave our audiences with, Klaus, what would you want them to remember out of this session?
Take every chance to play, and also take everything that you encountered during your day as an invitation to play. And of course, that could be hard. Sometimes you might think, how could I take that as an invitation to play? But life gets much easier if you do.
Give us an example of that. Give us an example of something that is hard, that you have taken as an invitation to play.
Something that well, I can tell one of Fred's life stories. He once had cancer, and he actually found a way how to play with that cancer and got cured. So that's one example. Very drastic, maybe, but one example. Yeah.
Right. Okay. And I invite those of you who are listening with us today. It's almost the end of the day here for me, but I think for many of you, it's still the start of the day, or it's the middle of the day. Think of the next situation you are encounter today that may be stressful for some reason, whatever it is, a deadline is coming up, a client has called, and think of how can you use a spirit of play to transform that situation, that encounter, that circumstance, so that it is generative rather than destructive. I mean, you have experienced, those of you who have been with us since the beginning of this seminar, right, that Klaus had horrendous, sound and mic problem. I was thrown off the internet. Like, there were minutes and minutes where you saw nothing. There wasn't me. There wasn't Klaus. My internet was not working. I'm actually on a second laptop. I will show you guys.
Maybe your mic is off, Serene. I can hear you now. Big online again.
That's a very bad idea. I lifted my secondary laptop because my first laptop crashed, and then the second laptop promptly died as well. No, what I was gonna say is, I mean, I can sit here and be upset and be stressed out about all of the stuff that has happened today just in this session alone, right? Or we can play and have fun and make a joke of it, and we can roll with the punches. And I think that, in essence, is the spirit of play. It's taking all of these, difficult circumstances that life throws at you anyway, and think about how can you roll with the punches and how can you find some fun out of it, right? I mean, I am sitting here going like, look, all this technology, and still we cannot get online, right? Just the simplest sound and video. Klaus have problem, I have problem, and it all has to happen at the exact moment we go on live, right? I kid you not, it was working perfectly well for an hour before I just had to go on live, right? So that's life. And I think that is the spirit of play, is to go out there and think about how can I play with this and how can I have fun, rather than, how can this thing kill me and I'll be fresh and stressed. Okay. So for those of you who are interested, I will leave the links, the registration links for both of the webinars. They will be on 13th of October and 16th of October. 13 is the one for business leaders and their team members, and 16 is the one for parents with children. So same principles, but just slightly different. They're all 2-hour Zoom webinars, and I'll leave the registration link inside the comments, and you can register for them. Okay. So anything else you want to add to this, Klaus?
Thanks, no. Have a beautiful day or a beautiful night.
Yes. So thank you very much to all of you who have joined us today. Have a wonderful morning, afternoon, evening, wherever you are. And next week, we are going to talk about the absurdities of the corporate world. Okay. And that will be, my guest will be Dennis Bernard. Same time next week. See you.
All the best. Have a good time.
Thank you.
Yes. Bye.
Bye.